The Galactic Defense Academy floated high above Zorath Prime, a huge ring of metal and glass that turned slowly against the black of space. Inside its walls, young cadets from many worlds trained to become officers for the Allied fleet. They came from places with heavy gravity, thick air, sharp claws, or thick scales. Most of them were tall, strong, and built for battle. Then there was Ethan Brooks. Ethan stepped off the shuttle with his small duffel bag over one shoulder. He was not tall. He was not wide. His skin had no armor plates or fur. To the other cadets, he looked soft, like something that would break if you pushed too hard. He wore the same gray training uniform as everyone else, but on him it looked plain and ordinary. His brown hair was cut short, and his eyes stayed calm as he looked around the busy docking bay. A group of cadets stood near the exit. One of them was much bigger than the rest. Kyle Donovan, from the Vexari homeworld, had horns that curved back from his forehead like black knives. His shoulders were wide enough to block a doorway, and his hands ended in thick claws that clicked when he moved them. Kyle watched Ethan walk past and gave a low laugh that sounded like gravel rolling. "Look at that," Kyle said, loud enough for others to hear. "They sent us a pink thing. Does it even have bones?" Some of the cadets around him chuckled. A few looked curious. Ethan kept walking. He did not turn his head or slow down. He just found the sign that pointed to the cadet quarters and followed it. In the mess hall that evening, the room was loud with voices from 20 different species. Plates clinked. Someone roared at a joke. Ethan found an empty spot at the end of a long table and sat with his tray of food. Mostly protein paste and green vegetables that tasted the same, no matter what planet they came from. He ate slowly, watching the room without staring. Kyle and 3 of his friends walked over. They stopped right behind Ethan. Kyle leaned down so his shadow fell across the table. "Hey, Softskin," Kyle said. His voice was deep and rough. "You lost? This table is for real cadets." Ethan looked up. He met Kyle's yellow eyes for a second, then went back to his food. "I'm in the right place," he said quietly. "My name is on the roster." Kyle's friends laughed again. One of them, a thin, lizard-like cadet named Vance, slapped the table. "He talks! The pink thing talks!" Kyle reached out and pushed Ethan's shoulder, not hard, just enough to make him rock sideways. Ethan's tray slid a little, but he caught it before anything spilled. He did not stand up. He did not raise his voice. "You think you're tough because you made it here?" Kyle asked. "You won't last a week. Humans break easy. Everyone knows that." He stood up, slowly. Same height as before, same calm face. "I don't want trouble," he said. "I'm here to learn." Kyle stepped closer. Now their faces were only a foot apart. "You don't get to choose," he said. "We decide who belongs." Before Kyle could push again, a sharp voice cut through the noise. "Enough." Instructor Ryan Hayes stood at the entrance to the mess hall. He was older, with gray scales and long arms that ended in careful claws. His eyes were bright and sharp. He walked over with long steps. "Donovan," Ryan said, "back off. Brooks is a cadet like the rest of you. If you have a problem, take it to the training floor during sanctioned hours. Not here." Kyle looked at the instructor, then back at Ethan. He smiled with too many teeth. "Sure, Instructor, just welcoming the new guy." He stepped back. His friends followed. The group walked away, still laughing quietly. "You all right, Cadet Brooks?" Ethan nodded once. "Yes, sir." "Good. Keep your head down for now. The Academy has rules, but some cadets like to test them." Ryan paused. "Humans are new here. Many think your kind is weak because you do not show strength the same way. Prove them wrong with your work, not your fists." Ethan gave a small nod. "Understood, sir." Ryan watched him for a moment longer, then walked away to check on other tables. Ethan picked up his tray and left the mess hall. He walked the long corridors to his small room. The lights were low now, and the station made soft humming sounds. In his room, he sat on the narrow bed and looked at the single window that showed stars sliding past. He thought about home. Earth was far away, a blue dot in a quiet corner of space. People there fought in different ways, quiet ways, patient ways. They did not roar or show claws first. They waited. And when the time came, they ended things fast. Ethan took off his boots and lay back. Tomorrow would be the first day of real training. Zero-gravity drills, weapons handling, group tactics. He closed his eyes and pictured the moves he had practiced for years back on Earth. Simple things that looked weak until they were not. In another part of the station, Kyle sat with his friends in their shared quarters. They drank sharp-tasting energy drinks and talked loud. He didn't even fight back, Vance said. Just stood there like a plant. Kyle cracked his knuckles. He will. They always do when you push hard enough. Humans think they're smart. We'll see how smart he is when he's on the mat, crying for his mother. The others laughed. Kyle leaned back and smiled. He liked the idea of breaking something new. It made him feel big. The next morning came fast. Alarms sounded through the station. Cadets hurried to the main training deck. Ethan was there early, already in his gear, standing quiet at the edge of the group. He watched the others stretch and talk. He stretched too, slow and careful, feeling the pull in his legs and back. Kyle walked past with his usual group. He bumped Ethan's shoulder on purpose as he went by. Ethan did not react. He just kept stretching. Instructor Ryan stood on a raised platform. His voice came over the speakers, clear and strong. Today we start with basic movement in zero gravity. Pair up. One leads, one follows. Learn to read your partner's body. No contact unless I say so. Cadets moved into pairs. Ethan found himself next to a quiet female cadet from the Trellin species. Her name was Laura Klein. She had soft green skin and large dark eyes. She gave him a small smile. "Hi," she said. "I'm Laura." "Ethan," he answered. They floated into the training sphere together. The gravity turned off. Ethan moved slow at first, getting used to the lack of weight. Laura moved smooth and easy. She was born on a low-gravity moon. Across the sphere, Kyle paired with Vance. He looked over at Ethan and grinned. He pushed off hard, sending himself straight toward Ethan's side of the room. Instructor Ryan watched, but said nothing yet. Kyle stopped short, hovering close. "Careful, soft skin. Don't want you to float away and get lost." Ethan did not answer. He kept practicing the slow turns Laura showed him. The session went on. Kyle kept making small pushes, bumping into Ethan by accident during group moves, knocking him off course. Each time, Ethan corrected himself without complaint. He did not push back. He did not glare. By the end of the hour, most cadets were tired. Ethan was breathing hard, but steady. Laura looked at him with new interest. "You're good at staying calm," she said as they left the sphere. "Have to be," Ethan answered. Laura nodded. She did not say more, but she walked beside him back to the lockers. Kyle watched them go. His smile was gone now. It was replaced by something harder. He turned to Vance. "Tomorrow," he said, "we turn up the pressure." The station kept turning, the stars kept sliding past, and somewhere in the quiet halls, a small human cadet prepared for what he knew was coming. The days at the Galactic Defense Academy passed quickly. Morning started with alarms that rang through every corridor. Cadets ran to the training decks. They learned how to move in zero gravity, how to fire energy weapons, how to work as teams against mock enemies. Ethan Brooks did everything asked of him. He listened to instructors. He practiced until his muscles burned. He never complained. Kyle Donovan watched him every day. At first, Kyle thought the human would quit soon. Humans were soft, everyone said so. They came from a light-gravity world with no natural weapons. But Ethan did not quit. He kept showing up. He kept improving. That made Kyle angry. During zero-gravity drills, Kyle started small things. When pairs flew through the training sphere, Kyle would drift close to Ethan and give a quick shove with his foot. Not hard enough for the instructor to notice much, but enough to send Ethan spinning off course. Ethan would twist his body, slow himself down, and get back into position. He never looked angry. He just fixed the mistake and kept going. In sparring class, things got worse. The instructor paired cadets for light contact drills. No full power, just practice. Kyle got matched with Ethan one day. The rules said stop when the other tapped out or the instructor called time. Kyle did not follow that well. They faced each other in the padded circle. Kyle grinned wide. His horns caught the light. Ethan stood straight, hands loose at his sides. Go, the assistant instructor said. Kyle charged fast. He swung a heavy arm. Ethan stepped to the side. Kyle's fist missed by inches. Kyle turned and grabbed for Ethan's shoulder. Ethan ducked low and rolled away. Kyle laughed loud. Running already? Ethan did not answer. He circled slow. When Kyle lunged again, Ethan stepped in close. He pushed Kyle's arm up and away. Kyle stumbled a little. The watching cadets made surprise sounds. Kyle got mad. He rushed forward with both arms out. He caught Ethan around the waist and lifted him off the mat. For a second, it looked like he would slam Ethan down hard. The assistant instructor shouted, "Control, Donovan!" Kyle dropped Ethan instead, but not gently. Ethan hit the mat on his back. Air rushed out of him. He rolled to his feet quick. His face stayed calm. No yell. No curse. The drill ended. Kyle walked away laughing with his friends. See? Soft. Ethan rubbed his side once, then joined the next group. Laura Klein watched from the side. She walked over when the class broke. You okay? She asked quiet. Ethan nodded. Fine, just a bruise. Laura looked at Kyle across the room. He does that to everyone new, but not like this. He really wants to break you. Ethan shrugged. He can try. You don't fight back much. I fight when I need to, Ethan said. Not before. Laura smiled small. You're strange, human. Ethan gave a half smile back. Maybe. The pattern continued. In group runs through the obstacle course, Kyle would accidentally knock Ethan into a wall panel. In weapons class, Kyle would bump Ethan's aim during target practice, so shots went wide. Each time, Ethan reset, adjusted, and kept working. He started to score better than some others. Not the best, but steady, reliable. Some cadets noticed. A few began to nod at Ethan in the halls. One or two even said hello. Laura sat with him at meals sometimes. They talked about tactics. She showed him Trellin ways to move quiet in low light. He showed her simple earth stretches that helped sore muscles. They became friends, slow and easy. Kyle saw it all. It made him more angry. The human was not breaking. He was getting stronger. Kyle talked to his friends late at night in their room. He's acting like he belongs, Kyle said. Like he's one of us. Vance leaned forward. We need to push harder. Make him snap. Or make him leave. Kyle cracked his knuckles. Tomorrow, after lights out, no instructor around. The next evening came. Lights dimmed across the station. Most cadets slept. Ethan walked back from the study hall alone. He carried a datapad with notes on ship maneuvers. The corridor was quiet. Only soft lights glowed along the floor. Kyle stepped out from a side hall. Vance and two others stood behind him. They blocked the way forward. Going somewhere, soft skin? Kyle asked. Ethan stopped. He looked at them one by one. To my room. Kyle stepped closer. His shadow covered Ethan. Not yet. We have something to settle. Ethan kept his voice even. If it's a fight, it should be on the training floor. Instructor present. Kyle laughed low. Rules are for weak things. You think you're safe because you're small? You're not. He reached out and pushed Ethan hard against the wall. Ethan's back hit metal. The datapad fell and slid across the floor. Ethan did not reach for it. He looked straight at Kyle. I don't want this, Ethan said. Too bad. Kyle grabbed Ethan's collar with one clawed hand. He lifted him so Ethan's feet barely touched the ground. Tomorrow. Main arena. Formal challenge. You accept, or I drag you there myself. Ethan's face did not change. No fear showed. No anger. Just calm. Fine, Ethan said. Tomorrow. Formal challenge. Kyle let go. Ethan dropped to his feet steady. Kyle leaned in close. You'll regret that, human. I'll make sure everyone sees you break. Kyle turned and walked away. His friends followed, laughing quiet. Ethan picked up his datapad. He brushed dust off it. Then he continued to his room like nothing happened. In his room, he sat on the bed. He opened the pad and looked at the challenge rules on the academy screen. Formal bouts allowed full contact. No weapons. Fight until one submitted or could not continue. Instructor oversaw. No permanent damage allowed, but things could get rough. Ethan closed the pad. He thought about home again, about the stories his grandfather told, how humans survived things that should have killed them, how they waited, planned, then acted fast when the moment came. He stood up. He did slow push-ups on the floor, then sit-ups, then stretches. His body hurt from the week's training, but he pushed through. Pain was just information. It told him what needed work. Across the station, Kyle lay in his bunk. He smiled in the dark. Tomorrow, he said to himself. Tomorrow the human learns his place. Morning came. The station woke with alarms. Cadets moved to breakfast, then to classes. Word spread fast through the halls. A formal challenge, human against Vexari. Everyone wanted to see it. Ethan ate alone. Laura sat across from him. You're really doing this? She asked. Ethan nodded. He won't stop otherwise. Laura looked worried. Kyle is strong. Vexari heal fast. They hit hard. I know, Ethan said, but I have my ways. Laura studied his face. You don't look scared. Ethan met her eyes. Scared doesn't help. She nodded slow. Be careful. I will. After breakfast, cadets gathered near the main arena. The challenge was set for mid-morning. Instructor Ryan Hayes would oversee. He heard about the challenge from other instructors. He did not like it. He thought the human would get hurt bad. But rules were rules. Challenges were part of training. Ethan walked to the arena early. He wore the standard sparring gear. Padded shorts, tight shirt, soft boots. He stretched in a quiet corner. Slow breaths. Calm mind. Kyle arrived with his group. He flexed his arms. His horns shone under the lights. Cadets whispered as he passed. Look at him, someone said. He thinks he can win. Another laughed. The human? No chance. Ethan ignored the talk. He kept stretching. Instructor Ryan climbed to the high platform. He looked down at the two cadets. One huge and horned, one small and plain. He felt a small worry in his chest. He should have stopped this sooner. But now it was too late to cancel. The arena filled. Cadets stood shoulder to shoulder. The air buzzed with talk. Kyle stepped into the circle. He raised his arms. The crowd cheered. Ethan stepped in opposite him. He stood straight. No show. No roar. Ryan's voice came over the speakers. Challenge accepted. Rules standard. No eye strikes. No throat holds longer than 3 seconds. Stop on my command or submission. Begin when I say. Kyle grinned at Ethan. Ready to lose, soft skin? Ethan looked back steady. Ready to finish this. Ryan raised one hand. The crowd went quiet. The fight was about to start. The main arena lights shone bright and white. The floor was soft padding in the center, hard metal walls around the edge. Rows of seats rose up on all sides. Every spot was filled. Cadets from every species leaned forward. Some stood because there were no more seats. The air felt thick with waiting. Ethan Brooks walked into the circle first. He wore the plain gray sparring gear. No extra pads, no helmet. His feet were bare, except for thin training shoes. He stood in the middle and waited. His arms hung loose. His breathing was slow and even. Kyle Donovan came next. He stepped through the crowd like he owned the place. His horns caught the light. His chest puffed out. He wore extra shoulder guards because Vexari liked to show strength. He cracked his neck side to side. The sound was loud in the quiet room. The two stood 10 feet apart. Kyle towered over Ethan, almost 2 full heads taller. His claws flexed, open and closed. Instructor Ryan Hayes stood on the high platform. He looked down at them. His gray scales looked darker under the lights. He held a small control pad. It could stop the fight with one button if needed. He hoped he would not need it. "Listen," Ryan said. His voice came through speakers around the arena. "This is a formal challenge. Full contact allowed. No eye gouges. No strikes to the throat longer than 3 counts. No biting. Fight ends on submission, knockout, or my command. Do you both understand?" Kyle grinned wide. "Yes, sir." Ethan nodded once. "Yes, sir." Ryan looked at each of them for a long second. Then he raised his hand. "Cadets, begin." The crowd made a low sound. Not quite a cheer. More like held breath. Kyle moved first. He dropped low and charged like a bull. His feet pounded the mat. He roared loud enough to shake the air. Claws out. Horns forward. Ethan did not back up. He stepped to the side at the last moment. Kyle's shoulder brushed past him. The wind from the charge ruffled Ethan's shirt. Kyle hit the barrier wall hard. The metal rang like a bell. Kyle turned fast. He swung a big fist. Ethan ducked under it. The fist whistled over his head. Kyle swung the other way. Ethan leaned back just enough. The claws missed his face by a hair. The crowd laughed a little. Someone shouted, "Get him, Kyle." Kyle growled. He stepped in close. He threw punch after punch, heavy, fast for his size. Ethan moved his head and shoulders. He slipped most of them. A few grazed him. One caught his cheek. Skin split. Blood trickled down. Ethan tasted copper. He wiped it with the back of his hand. Then he stepped forward. He kicked low. His foot hit the side of Kyle's knee. Not full power, just sharp. Kyle's leg buckled a little. He grunted in surprise. Kyle swung again. This time, he caught Ethan's arm. Ethan came forward. Kyle lifted a knee toward Ethan's stomach. Ethan twisted. The knee hit his side instead. Air rushed out of him. He felt ribs creak, but he did not fall. He used the pull. He stepped in even closer. His palm shot up. It hit Kyle under the chin. Not a punch, a sharp upward strike. Kyle's head snapped back. His teeth clicked together. Kyle let go. He stepped back, eyes wide for a second, then angry. The crowd went quiet. No more laughs. Kyle roared again, louder this time. He charged once more, both arms out. He grabbed Ethan around the middle, lifted him clean off the floor, squeezed hard. Ethan's face turned red. Air could not get in. His ribs pressed in. Pain shot through his chest. Kyle laughed now. "Got you, saw skin." He squeezed tighter. Ethan went limp for a heartbeat. Arms hung down, legs dangled. The crowd cheered. They thought it was over. Instructor Ryan leaned forward. His hand moved toward the control pad. "Donovan, ease up." But Ethan was not done. His legs snapped up. He hooked them around Kyle's waist. Then he drove both elbows down at the same time, one into each side of Kyle's neck, right where the scales were thin. Kyle choked. His grip loosened. Ethan dropped to the mat. He rolled away fast. Kyle coughed and grabbed his throat. Ethan stood up. Blood ran from his lip now too. His shirt had a tear, but his eyes were clear, focused. Kyle shook his head, cleared it. He looked at Ethan like he saw him for the first time. "You little—" He rushed again, slower this time, more careful. He swung a claw. Ethan caught the wrist, twisted it, not enough to break, just enough to hurt. Kyle pulled back. Ethan followed. He stepped inside Kyle's reach. He hit twice, once to the stomach, once to the ribs. Quick, hard. Kyle grunted each time. Kyle swung wild, came up with another palm strike. This one to Kyle's nose. Blood sprayed. Kyle staggered back. The crowd was silent now. No cheers, no laughs, just watching. Kyle wiped blood from his face. His eyes burned. He lowered his head. Horns pointed forward. He charged one last time, full speed, full power. Ethan waited until the last second. Then he dropped low, swept his leg out, caught Kyle's ankle. Kyle tripped. Arms windmilled. He fell forward hard. Ethan rolled to the side. Kyle hit the mat, face first. The sound was heavy, like a sack of rocks. Kyle pushed up slow. Blood dripped from his nose onto the padding. He got to one knee. Ethan stood a few feet away, breathing hard, hands still up. Not showy, just ready. Kyle looked up at him. For the first time there was something new in his eyes. Not anger, not hate. Surprise. Maybe a little fear. He pushed to his feet, wobbled once. Then, steadied. He took one step forward. Instructor Ryan's voice cut through. "Enough!" Ryan jumped down from the platform. Landed light for his size. He walked between them fast. "Challenge over," he said. "Stand down, both of you." Kyle stared at Ethan. Blood ran down his chin. His chest moved up and down fast. Ethan lowered his hands. He took one step back. No smile, no words, just calm. The crowd started to talk, whispers at first, then louder. "Did you see that? The human didn't even yell. He took hits that would drop most of us." Ryan looked at Kyle. "Medics, now." Two medics ran in. They helped Kyle to the side. He walked on his own, but slow. Ryan turned to Ethan. He studied the human's face. Split lip, bruised cheek, shirt torn, but standing straight. "You all right, Brooks?" Ethan nodded. "Yes, sir." Ryan looked around the arena. Every eye was on them. He spoke loud enough for all to hear. Challenge concluded. No winner declared. Both cadets showed skill. But everyone knew. Kyle had charged. Kyle had grabbed. Kyle had fallen. Ethan had not. Ryan put a hand on Ethan's shoulder. Light. Careful. "Go get checked, then report to my office." Ethan nodded again. He walked out of the circle. Cadets moved aside to let him pass. No one laughed now. No one mocked. Laura Klein waited at the edge. She looked at him with wide eyes. "You okay?" she asked quiet. Ethan gave a small nod. "Yeah." She smiled. Small, but real. "You surprised them." Ethan looked back at the arena once. Kyle sat on a bench. Medics wiped his face. "Maybe," Ethan said. He kept walking, toward the medical bay, toward whatever came next. The station kept turning. The stars kept moving outside the windows. And something had changed inside the academy walls. A human had stood, and he had not broken. Kyle Donovan pushed himself up from the mat. Blood dripped from his nose and mixed with sweat on the padding. His chest moved fast. Each breath sounded rough. He wiped his face with the back of one hand. The smear of red made him look wilder. His yellow eyes locked on Ethan Brooks. Ethan stood a few steps away. His own blood ran from his lip and cheek. His shirt hung in torn pieces. Bruises already showed dark on his arms and side. But he breathed steady. His feet stayed planted, hands loose but ready. The crowd watched in complete silence now. No one moved. No one spoke. The air felt heavy. Kyle lowered his head again. Horns pointed straight at Ethan. He took one slow step forward, then another. His claws scraped the mat. "You think you're done?" Kyle said. His voice came out thick. "Not yet." He exploded forward, faster than before. Rage pushed him past the pain. He grabbed for Ethan's shoulders with both hands. He lifted Ethan high off the floor again. This time he squeezed even harder. Ethan's ribs pressed tight. A sharp crack sounded inside his chest. Pain flashed white behind his eyes. Kyle laughed. It was a broken, angry sound. "Tap out, human, or I break you." Ethan's face turned deep red, then purple. His mouth opened, but no air came in. His arms hung for a second. The crowd leaned forward. Some started to stand. They thought this was it. The end. Instructor Ryan Hayes stepped to the edge of the platform. His hand hovered over the control pad. "Donovan, release him now." Kyle did not hear or did not care. He squeezed tighter. Ethan's legs kicked once, weak, then they stopped. Ryan opened his mouth to call the fight. But Ethan moved. He went completely limp. His body sagged like dead weight. Kyle's grip slipped just a fraction. That was enough. Ethan snapped his head forward. His forehead slammed into Kyle's nose. The hit was hard. Kyle's head rocked back. Blood sprayed again. His eyes watered. Ethan's legs snapped up fast. He locked them around Kyle's waist like a vice. Then he pulled himself in close, face to face now. Kyle tried to shake him off. Ethan held tight. Ethan drove one elbow straight down into the soft spot between Kyle's collarbone and neck. Once, twice, 3 times. Quick, sharp. Each hit landed on the thin scales there. Kyle choked. His arms loosened more. Ethan twisted his body. He used Kyle's own strength against him. He dropped low and pulled. Kyle lost balance. His feet slid forward. They both fell. Kyle hit the mat on his back first. Hard. The air rushed out of him in a loud grunt. Ethan landed on top. He did not stay there long. Ethan rolled off to the side. He pushed up to his knees, then to his feet. Kyle stayed down for a second longer, trying to breathe. Kyle rolled over. He pushed up slow, one hand on the mat. The other clutched his throat. He coughed, wet and red. Ethan waited, not rushing in, just standing, ready. Kyle got to one knee, then both feet. He swayed. His horns looked heavy now. He raised his fists again. "Come on," Kyle said, voice hoarse. "Finish it if you can." Ethan stepped forward slow. Kyle swung a wild punch. Ethan slipped it. He stepped in close. His knee came up fast. It drove into Kyle's stomach, right under the ribs. Kyle bent forward. Air whooshed out again. Ethan did not stop. He grabbed Kyle's arm, twisted it behind his back. Not to break it, just to hold. Kyle tried to pull free. Ethan pushed forward, forced Kyle down to one knee. Kyle roared. He threw his head back, tried to hit Ethan with his horns. Ethan leaned away. The horn grazed his shoulder, drew a thin line of blood. Ethan let go of the arm. He stepped back half a step, then forward again. His palm shot up. It hit Kyle under the jaw. Clean, strong. Kyle's head snapped back. His eyes rolled for a second. Kyle dropped to both knees, hands on the mat, head hanging. The crowd made a soft sound, like a wave pulling back. Ethan stood over him, breathing hard, chest moving fast. Blood dripped from his chin onto the mat. Kyle looked up. His face was a mess, nose flat, lip split, one eye swelling shut. He tried to push up again. Ethan put one foot on Kyle's shoulder. Not hard, just enough to keep him down. "Stay down," Ethan said. "Quiet, no anger, no joy, just fact." Kyle pushed once more, then stopped. His arms gave out. He fell forward, face to the mat. He did not move. The arena stayed silent. Instructor Ryan jumped down. He crossed the circle in quick steps. He knelt beside Kyle first, checked his pulse, looked at his face. "Medics," Ryan called. 2 medics ran in with a stretcher. They lifted Kyle carefully. He groaned, but did not fight. They carried him out. He looked at Ethan. Brooks stood there, still, blood drying on his skin, shirt in rags, but upright. Ryan walked over. He put a hand on Ethan's arm. "Light." "You done?" Ryan asked. Ethan nodded once. "Yes, sir." Ryan looked around. Every cadet stared, some with open mouths, some with wide eyes. Laura Klein stood at the front row. Her hands covered her mouth. Ryan raised his voice so all could hear. "Fight over. Cadet Donovan is out. Cadet Brooks stands." No cheer, no clap, just quiet. Ryan turned back to Ethan. "Medical bay, now. That's an order." Ethan nodded. He started to walk. Slow, each step careful. Pain showed in his face now that the fight was done. Cadets moved aside again. This time they did not whisper jokes. They watched him pass like he was something new, something they did not understand yet. Laura stepped out. She walked beside him without a word at first. "You won." Soft. Ethan shook his head. "I ended it." She looked at him sideways. "Same thing. Maybe." They reached the medical bay doors. Ethan stopped. He looked back once toward the arena. The lights were still bright. The mat had blood spots. Kyle was gone. The crowd started to break up, slow, quiet. Ethan turned away. He stepped inside. The doors closed behind him. In the medical bay, a doctor with 4 arms checked him fast. Bruised ribs, maybe one cracked. Split lip, deep cuts on cheek and shoulder. Nothing broken bad, nothing that would not heal. The doctor gave him pain shots, wrapped his chest tight, cleaned the cuts, put skin glue on the deepest ones. Ethan sat on the table. He stared at the wall. The doctor looked at him. "You fought smart, not like most new cadets." Ethan gave a small shrug. "Had to." The doctor nodded. "Rest now. No training for 3 days at least." Ethan said nothing. Later, Instructor Ryan came in. He stood by the door, arms crossed. "Brooks," he said. Ethan looked up. Ryan stepped closer. "I was slow. I should have stopped it sooner. I thought you would submit fast, like others do." Ethan met his eyes. "I don't submit when someone wants to break me." Ryan looked down for a second, then back up. "We teach dominance here. Show strength early. Roar. Push. Make others back down. You did none of that." Ethan waited. "You waited," Ryan said. "You took the hits. You learned. Then you ended it. Clean, fast, no extra show." Ethan nodded slow. Ryan rubbed his scales. "We were wrong about humans. Many of us. We saw soft skin. No claws, no horns. We thought weak." He paused. "You are not weak." Ethan looked at him steady. "We fight different, that's all." Ryan gave a small nod, but effective. He turned to leave, stopped at the door. "Rest well, cadet. When you're back, things will be different for you here." Ethan watched him go. Alone in the room, Ethan lay back on the bed. The lights dimmed. Pain throbbed in his side, but it was okay. The fight was over. Outside, word spread fast. Through corridors, through mess hall, through sleeping quarters. The human did not roar. The human did not threaten. The human just finished the threat. And Kyle Donovan, the biggest bully in the class, lay in medical with a broken nose and a lesson he would not forget. The academy kept turning in space, but inside, something had shifted. Humans were not soft anymore. The medical bay lights were soft and low. Ethan Brooks lay on the narrow bed. His chest was wrapped tight in white bandages. Pain still throbbed with every breath, but the shots had dulled it enough to sleep. He did not sleep yet. He stared at the ceiling and listened to the quiet hum of the station. Outside the door, footsteps came close. Instructor Ryan Hayes entered without knocking. He carried a small datapad. His gray scales looked dull in the dim light. He pulled a chair next to the bed and sat. "Brooks," Ryan said, "you awake?" Ethan turned his head. "Yes, sir." Ryan looked at the bandages, the bruises on Ethan's face, the stitches on his cheek. "The doctor says 3 days rest, maybe 4. No heavy training, no drills." Ethan nodded once. Ryan leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "I need to say something, off the record, just between us." Ethan waited. "I watched the whole fight," Ryan said. "I saw Kyle charge, saw him lift you, saw you take hits that would drop most cadets. I waited too long to step in. I thought you would tap out, submit, like the others do when they meet someone bigger." He paused, looked down at his claws. "You did not." Ethan stayed quiet. Ryan met his eyes. "Why?" Ethan took a slow breath, winced a little from the ribs. "On Earth, we learn something different. We don't always show strength first. We wait, we watch, we let the other side think they have won. Then we end it. Fast, clean, no extra pain, no show." Ryan listened close. "Back home," Ethan went on, "we call it fighting to win, not fighting to look strong. If you fight to look strong, you waste energy, you make mistakes. If you fight to win, you stay calm. You use what you have, you finish the threat." Ryan rubbed his chin scales. "We teach the opposite here. Roar loud, push hard, make others back down before the first blow. It sets the order. It shows who leads." Ethan gave a small shrug. "That works for some species, not all." Ryan nodded slow. "Not humans." "Not humans," Ethan agreed. Ryan stood up. He walked to the window. Stars slid past outside. "The whole academy is talking. Cadets, instructors, even the station commander heard. They watched the recording already, 3 times. Ethan closed his eyes for a second. "What do they say?" "Some are angry. Kyle had friends. They say the human cheated, used tricks. But most are quiet, thinking. They saw a small soft skin take down the biggest cadet in the class, without roaring, without claws, just hands and feet and timing." Ryan turned back. "They are starting to understand. Humans do not break easy." Ethan opened his eyes. "We break. We just don't stay broken." Ryan gave a small smile. First one Ethan had seen from him. "Noted." He walked to the door. "When you return to class, things will change. Cadets will watch you different. Instructors too. No more easy pushes. No more tests in the halls. You earned respect today. The hard way." Ethan nodded. "Thank you, sir." Ryan left. The door hissed shut. Ethan lay back. He thought about Kyle, about the look in Kyle's eyes when he hit the mat. Not hate anymore, just shock. Maybe understanding, maybe not. Time would tell. The next day passed quiet. Ethan slept most of it. Nurses checked him every few hours. Laura Klein came by in the afternoon. She brought a small cup of warm nutrient drink. She sat on the chair Ryan had used. "You look better," she said. Ethan smiled a little. It pulled at the stitches. "Feel better." Laura looked at the floor, then at him. "Everyone is talking about you. In the mess hall, in the dorms. They keep replaying the fight on their pads." Ethan drank some of the warm liquid. It tasted like nothing. "What do they say?" Some say Kyle got what he deserved. Some say you were lucky. Most say they don't know what to say. They never saw anything like it. Laura leaned closer. I told them you didn't fight angry. You fought smart. They didn't believe me at first. Then they watched again. Ethan set the cup down. I'm glad it's over. Laura tilted her head. Is it? Ethan looked at her. Kyle will heal, she said. Vexari heal fast, but his pride, that takes longer. He might come back meaner, or he might leave you alone. No one knows yet. Ethan nodded. I'll be ready either way. Laura smiled small. She stood up. Get better fast. Training is boring without you. She left. Ethan watched the door close. Days passed. Ethan got stronger. The bruises turned yellow. The ribs hurt less. On the 4th day, the doctor cleared him for light duty. No combat, no heavy lifts. Watching classes. Ethan returned to the corridors. Cadets looked at him different. Some nodded. Some stepped aside. No one pushed. No one mocked. A few even said hello by name. In the mess hall, he sat alone at first. Then, Laura joined him. Then 2 others. A quiet cadet from the Corin species. A female from the human ally world of New Terra. They talked about drills, about ships, about nothing important. It felt normal. Kyle returned a week later. He walked slow, nose still taped, one eye dark around the edge. He saw Ethan across the mess hall. Stopped, stared. Ethan looked back. No glare, no challenge, just calm. Kyle held the stare for a long moment. Then he turned away, walked to his usual table, sat with his friends. They talked low. Kyle did not look over again. That night, Instructor Ryan called a special class. All cadets. Big lecture hall. He stood at the front. Behind him played the fight recording. Slow motion parts. Key moments. Ryan pointed at the screen. Watch, he said. This is not about bullying. This is not about who is bigger. This is about what happens when you push a species too far. He froze the image on Ethan standing over Kyle. Many of you thought humans weak, soft, no natural weapons, no thick hide. Look again. Humans come from a death world. Gravity light, animals fast, weather wild. They survived by thinking, by waiting, by using every tool. Body, mind, will. He looked at the cadets. Underestimate them at your risk. The room stayed quiet. Ryan turned off the screen. This recording goes into the required lessons. Advanced tactics, species profiles, respect for allies. He paused. And respect for humans. The class ended. Cadets filed out slow. Some looked at Ethan as they passed. Not with fear, with something close to respect. Ethan walked back to his room. Stars bright outside. He sat on his bed, looked at his hands, knuckles still scabbed, palms rough. He thought about Earth, about home, about why he came here. To learn, to show what humans could do, not to prove they were better, just to prove they belonged. A knock came, soft. Ethan opened the door. Laura stood there. She held a small data chip. Here, she said, from the class. They want you to see it. Ethan took it. Thanks. Laura smiled. You're one of us now. Really? Ethan nodded. I always was. She left. Ethan closed the door. He put the chip in his pad, watched the recording once. Not to brag, just to remember. Then he turned it off. He lay back, closed his eyes. The academy kept turning. The stars kept sliding past, and somewhere in the quiet halls, a human cadet rested. He had not come to break anyone. He had come to stand. And now, everyone knew, he could stand.